gentle spring breeze sweeps over the south lawn of the White House as rows of cameras glitter like sequins under the late afternoon sun. Staffers in navy blazers hustle players from the Philadelphia Eagles into loose formation, while a jazz quartet hired for ambiance murmurs scales no one will remember tomorrow. The audience, a mosaic of donors, military families, and lucky season ticket holders, waits for the moment their phones can capture: the handshake between the President of the United States and the newly crowned champions. Donald Trump appears from the colonnade with the practiced swagger of a man who counts spotlights as old companions. He waves, applauds, adjusts the bright red tie battling the breeze, and steps to the podium. Before thanking a single athlete, he plants a mischievous smile on his face, leans toward the microphone, and fires the question twice. Rapid fire. How did they do? How did they do? Laughter ripples through the front rows, though a few confused guests glance at one another. The jab is not directed at the Eagles, but at the Kansas City Chiefs, and, by proxy, their most famous superfan, Taylor Swift. With 8 words, the president turns a routine sports photo op into a cultural flashpoint. Across the globe, millions of smartphones vibrate as the live stream hits social feeds. Subtitles sprint beneath the video while comment sections burst into tribal anthems. MAGA faithful post laughing emojis and eagle gifs. Swifties flood the thread with pastel hearts, snake icons, and reminders that their idol's last album outsold most political memoirs combined. In less than 2 minutes, How Did It Go trends in 41 countries, and TikTok editors splice the phrase into dance remixes and lip-sync challenges set against glitchy trap beats. None of that is visible to Trump as he continues a 15-minute congratulatory speech laced with his trademark blend of bravado and folksy asides. He praises Saquon Barkley for carrying half the state of Pennsylvania on his shoulders, jokes that offensive tackles are human walls the border could envy, and compliments Coach Nick Sirianni's Italian heritage with a nod to the best meatballs in South Philly. Off camera, staffers watch their notification feeds spike like seismographs recording an earthquake. 200 miles north in Manhattan, Taylor Swift finishes rehearsing a surprise acoustic set when her manager raises a phone. The clip is 10 seconds long. She watches, blinks twice, exhales the universal "here we go again" sigh, and considers her options. The 2026 midterms loom. She has become an unexpected pillar of the Harris administration's youth outreach. Pettiness rarely deserves oxygen, yet silence can be seen as weakness. She opts for subtlety. Minutes later, a story appears on her Instagram. A football stamped with the phrase, "shake it off," spinning slowly against a pale pink background. She says nothing else. In 15 minutes, the clip racks up 30 million views. Cable producers scramble. CNN packages archival footage, 2019, when Swift called Trump's policies calculated divisions, and Trump fired back at Hollywood liberal losers. Fox strings together commentary on celebrity overreach. Graphics weld side-by-side photos. Trump at the podium, Swift on an arena catwalk. Lower third scream, clash of influence. Pop star versus president meme war erupts. In Philadelphia, Travis Kelce gets the notification while filming a cereal commercial. He laughs, mutters, "here we go again," and records a reaction video restrained enough not to breach endorsement contracts. Behind him, the stylist whispers, "at least he didn't mention you by name." The internet fills that gap within minutes, casting Kelce as collateral damage in a feud bigger than touchdowns and chart positions. Political machines rev instantly. Republican strategists draft fundraising emails praising the president's good-natured humor, while warning supporters that celebrity elites want to silence your voice. Democratic operatives seize the same clip, framing it as dismissive and petty toward hardworking athletes and their allies. Within 6 hours, Act Blue reports $3.2 million in small donations, each under $40, attached to a banner reading, "How did they do? Pretty well, thanks." Meme culture detonates. Swifties loop the question into club beats. MAGA designers paste Trump's face on Rocky Balboa, while the Eagles mascot flutters behind. Neutral observers attempt nuanced commentary, noting that a president mocking a private citizen, even a global superstar, during an official ceremony blurs the line between statecraft and spectacle. Their threads receive a fraction of the engagement earned by a single TikTok, where a golden retriever tilts its head every time the phrase plays. Conspiracy spin-offs sprout overnight. Ideology-agnostic bot accounts resurrect Taylor Swift Chinagate, alleging that Swift's streaming dominance in Asia proves collusion with Beijing entertainment giants. Others push Taylor Zhao's election interference, insisting she fronts a Silicon Valley plot to register only progressive voters. A doctored screenshot circulates, showing a non-existent 10-cent press release titled "Strategic Partnership with Swift Inc." By dawn, fact-checkers at Reuters debunk 3 separate hoaxes, but the rumors have already logged millions of impressions. In the West Wing, senior advisors debate strategy. Some argue for ignoring the uproar, others propose channeling it into a rallying cry against cancel culture. The press secretary drafts a bland statement. The president celebrated the competitive spirit of American football and meant no disrespect to any individual or team. At 9 a.m., the release hits inboxes, but commentary shows little appetite for de-escalation. Conflict is content, and content is currency. Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts, absent from the ceremony due to a lingering ankle sprain, tweets a simple prayer hands emoji. Sports writers interpret it 50 different ways. Solidarity with Swift, subtle rebuke of Trump, or maybe just wishing his ankle would heal. Ambiguity fuels debate panels for another 24-hour cycle. Economists, never once to miss a trend, crunch numbers on what they label fandom economics. Overnight sales of Chiefs merchandise spiked 22% out of solidarity. Eagles gear sees a modest 8% bump. On Wall Street, shares of Live Nation and Spotify flutter upward on speculation that any new Swift release responding to Trump will obliterate streaming records. By lunchtime, a think piece in The Atlantic argues that modern presidencies sit at the epicenter of the attention economy, where every utterance is equal parts policy and performance art. Media theorist Dr. Lena Cho notes, in 2025, the State of the Union may be watched by fewer citizens than a Taylor Swift Instagram story. Politicians who ignore that ratio do so at their peril. The article garners thousands of shares, but its impact pales beside a 20-second parody clip where a digital Trump answers his own question with chopped lyrics from Shake It Off. The U.S. women's national soccer team subtweets support for Swift with 3 microphone emojis. The White House social media manager contemplates replying with football emojis, but decides that might blur the lines even further. Late-night hosts sharpen monologues. On NBC, the joke is that Swift should challenge Trump to a battle of the bands during the next Super Bowl. Winner takes Pennsylvania's electoral votes. Satire shows rescore the ceremony with laugh tracks, turning the South Lawn into a sitcom set. Internationally, the saga mutates again. In Brazil, it becomes a lesson about mixing soccer idols with presidential politics. In South Korea, Variety shows animate chibi versions of Trump and Swift holding oversized microphones. A British tabloid prints a front-page headline, "Hail to the Chief, Troll," as if trolling were an official office. Beneath the carnival of commentary runs a quieter current. Voter registration portals report another uptick, small but measurable, among 18 to 24-year-olds citing the incident as proof. Politics touches everything. Campaign veterans acknowledge the uncomfortable truth. A path to Congress might hinge on ownership of a mid-speech wisecrack. 48 hours after the ceremony, the fever finally subsides, but not before altering several trajectories. Streaming services log the exact minute Swift's football story shattered record concurrency. ESPN devotes an Outside the Lines special to athlete-celebrity political triangles. Academic journals solicit abstracts for panels titled Memes, Music, and the Modern Presidency. Trump, asked by a reporter on Air Force One whether he regrets the joke, shrugs. "I thought it was funny. Everybody's talking about it, right? Ratings through the roof." The quote spawns another wave of headlines. Social feeds churn again, albeit at a slower RPM. Swift plays the longer game. She schedules a voter registration pop-up at the next tour stop and tweaks a lyric in The Man. "If I got a yard for every little joke they threw, I'd build a stadium just for you." Fans lose their minds. Critics debate whether it confirms or diffuses the feud. Tickets sell even faster. Donations to voting rights groups surge. By month's end, data scientists present a slide deck in Washington. The 8-word quip correlated with measurable shifts in fundraising, merchandise sales, voter sign-ups, and media ratings. The final slide reads, "Attention is fungible. Whoever multiplies it wins." A junior aide scribbles in the margin, "Remember to workshop jokes next time." So the incident lands in modern folklore, a parable about life in the hyper-connected age where a presidential jest travels at fiber-optic speed, collides with a pop star's megaphone, and ricochets through newsrooms, phones, and stock portfolios before anyone drafts an op-ed. Analysts may later note that real policy was barely mentioned, yet the gravitational pull on public sentiment, consumer behavior, and civic engagement dwarf that of many legislative debates. A month later, the South Lawn's grass bears no trace of the spectacle. Gardeners have replaced divots, and the podium sits in storage, awaiting the next champion. But somewhere on a subway, a teen in a custom Eagles Chiefs split jersey hums "Shake It Off" while confirming her voter registration, proof that culture rarely stays in its lane. In a modest campaign office in suburban Ohio, a strategist updates a slide. Key influencers, sports heroes, pop icons, presidential mic drops. Sub-bullet, humor may be inexpensive, but the fallout can cost, or earn, millions. How did they do? Pretty well, it seems. They turned 8 words into a national conversation, countless memes, and perhaps a few thousand new voters, ready to decide who gets the last laugh at the next ceremony on the very same lawn where it all began.